So I've gotten a lot of real nice comments from people, in particular, a lot of comments about Iron Man. So if you really like the Iron Man, you might want to turn your eyes on this next part. So you're probably wondering, why did I take the forearm off my Iron Man? Well, I really wanted to show you guys how we fix a scratch on one of our finished pieces. Now, as you can see, I don't have any scratches on this piece, but that's about to change.
No, God! No, God, please, no!
I know before you guys shut it off and say this guy's crazy, there's a good reason I'm doing this, is because it is inevitable at some point our prints are going to get damaged if we knock them over, if we bang into something, and we have to know how to fix it. So with no further ado, let's put a scratch in our Iron Man. So we're out in the shop with one very scratched up Iron Man forearm. Before we do anything, we want to make sure we clean this off real well. Any oils that might have got deposited on it, fingerprints, we want to get all of that off. So in order to do that, I'm going to use this pre-clean aerosol spray. You can also use isopropyl alcohol. It works just fine. Spray a little bit on a rag, and we're going to wipe it off real good. Now, one thing I probably don't mention in my videos enough is make sure you are wearing rubber gloves when you are doing this. And that's for two reasons. Not only does it protect your hands from the chemical, but it protects the part from the oils and any waxes that you have on your hands. So make sure you're always wearing rubber gloves. Okay, now that we got our part nice and clean, the first thing we're going to do is scuff it up. Now, don't be afraid to do this. We are not sanding the clear back off, but we're going to scuff it up to give the new coat of clear a good surface to adhere to. For that, I use this Scotch Brite extra fine or very fine sanding pads, or the red sanding pads. I'll put a link down in the description. We're going to go over the whole thing and scuff it all up. And don't be afraid, it's not going to hurt anything, but we want to make sure we hit the whole entire piece, anywhere the clear is going to stick to. Because I want this crack to be completely unnoticeable, I'm not just going to fill it with color and clear it, because there'll be a depression. What I'm actually going to do is fill the crack, and we're just going to use a tiny bit of our glazing compound, put that on, and we're using this to smooth that crack out. So we waited about 15 minutes. We let our glaze set up, and very lightly, I'm going to take that 400 again and smooth this glaze out. Now we're not, again, sanding through the paint. All I'm trying to do is smooth this out to give it a nice even transition. So when we do put our color on our paint and our clear coat, that you won't have a noticeable dip in it. So I'm actually going to use a little bit of off-the-shelf primer to primer it. And all I'm going to do is spray a little bit into a cup. And I am going to use my airbrush to put this on. Now you could use it right out of the can. The reason I don't is because I think sometimes it just puts a little bit more on than I want. And all I'm going to do is real nice and light cover that spot where we had put our body filler, and that's it. So now that our primer's dry, we're going to do the exact same thing for the color. In this case, I'm using the Inferno Red for Iron Man. It's a duplicolor color, and it, I think, looks perfect on the Iron Man. But we're going to do the same thing. We're going to put some of this into a little cup. And I splashed a little bit, just make sure you're not rubbing that all over your part. We're going to get our part over here. We're going to take our airbrush. We're going to pour it right into our airbrush. And we're going to pretty much do the same thing. We're going to dust it on. Now, Start in the middle and get that color in the middle first. And you're going to feather it out. You want to get it nice and even. Now we're going to let it dry and then we're going to do it again. Now the other thing you need to make sure is you don't want to put too much on. You don't want to create like a dark spot on it, but you want to make sure you get good coverage. This will dry very fast. So as soon as it's flashed, you'll see it start to flash. We're going to go ahead and we're going to put another coat of it on, making sure, of course, we're hitting all the edges. And we're going to feather it out into the rest of our part. And I'm going to go ahead and give it a little bit more. So we'll go ahead and fill up our cup again. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and give it a little bit more, making sure we're feathering it out. And that looks pretty good. Now it's going to be hard to tell because this is flat. And I know in the video right now, it probably looks like a huge difference between that area and the rest. But once we get the clear on, it's going to blend everything together. Whenever I'm getting ready to clear something, I always give it a quick wipe down with some Tack cloth. These things are really cheap and it's a really good insurance policy. Just pull them out, kind of ball them up. And all we're going to do is just give it a quick wipe down. So we're ready to put our clear on. As always, make sure you're wearing a good respirator while you're doing this. So this same process I used in my previous video. We're going to apply the first coat. After we apply it, we're going to wait about 15 minutes, then apply our second coat. After we apply our second coat, we're going to wait about 30 minutes, and then we're going to go ahead and apply our third coat. This is the same clear I used in my previous video. This is the Axo Nobel Wanda 2K clear. So there's our part. As you can see, I got the scratch fixed, ready to go back on Iron Man. So for those of you who follow the channel, you know I'm a big fan of these automotive 2K clears, and that's really for a couple reasons. One is they provide a very durable finish and a lot of scratch resistance. The other reason is if they do get scratched, which it's inevitable, it's going to happen at some point in time. Following a simple process, it's not too hard to repair that scratch and give you a pretty much flawless repair that you're not going to notice. So I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please like and subscribe and let me know what you think down in the comments.